morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Possibility of eRada. We have the pleasure and the privilege of being with the great Leslie Flowers, and also we are blessed with Paulette Hallam's presence today. And like every other session we've had since the beginning. And we're still waiting for one of correction. She's already there. Jasmine Ofori is there, guys. Our social media specialist. Paula Tallam's there. Our bestseller author, children's books author, Jack and Walter to be specific. And of course, we have great Leslie Flowers, the phenomenal author of The Possibility of eRada. I'm Cyrus Kafash, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys. I'm the CEO of WhenDidYouKnow.com and WhisperBoy.com. So, Leslie, good afternoon.
Hello, how are you, Cyrus? I'm wonderful. Beautiful day.
Awesome. Brilliant. So, Leslie, tell us what have you got for us today? What are people going to learn from yourself today?
All right. So as we continue our relaunch of the possibility of eRada, today we're going to dig in a little bit into faith, which is critical in every manifestation. And faith is a kind of a challenging subject because we use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But do we really know what it is, how it works, right? And how we can understand it enough. Hi, Jay. So good to see you. To leverage it, to harness it, to use, to help us achieve the goals we want. Faith is a magical ingredient, and I'm really excited. It's really how I live my life, and there are 3 levels to it. So we can certainly get into it in a little bit. And you can ask me any questions you like. Faith is the only known antidote to fear. Did you know that? And we know what we talked about last night was we're all moving from a fear-based mindset, which is primarily our way of thinking or not thinking about things because of our own experience. But we do have the possibility of creating the faith that outweighs the fear. And that's what my work is about. And really, that is what eRada is all about. It's really, really about living a life of virtues, values, and love. And faith is a big part of love, when you imagine, Cyrus. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Leslie.
Sure.
What is your experience, Paulette, with believing in something that hasn't happened yet? What is your experience with faith?
My experience of having something said again. Sorry, I apologize. My ears fell out.
That's fine. What is your experience with faith? What is your experience with believing in something that hasn't happened yet?
I think I didn't even understand how it actually operated. And it wasn't until the training with Leslie that I really got the hang of giving myself the chance to believe that I can achieve anything given the right steps at the right time with repeated intervals of repetition. I can achieve anything I want to. And I didn't know that. So people who live in fear is somebody who can't live in faith. And that is what I learned because I was in fear. I was, what if it fails? What if it doesn't succeed? What if I'm a laughing stock? What if everyone thinks that I'm crazy? And so when someone says to you, no, actually, you got to have faith in what you believe. Otherwise, what's the point? And faith in sometimes I think could be a very difficult topic. And I'll let Leslie dive into that one because faith can be so complicated for people to understand. You can't pray for something to happen and just expect it to arrive tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. So over to Leslie to explain how you taught me about the idea of the being, the omnipresent force.
The omnipresent force. Hey, Scott, so glad you're here. Mahendra, well, thank you, Mahendra. Oh, very lovely of you. That's very sweet and much appreciated. So really there's two sides to this. There's the faith and the fear, but faith also has within it belief. So it's very helpful to understand how we actually achieve faith, how it occurs. And we certainly have faith in God. Most of us do, regardless of the label. It is that one universal energy of force of love that is omnipresent and that with which we are co-creators. So whenever we get an idea, it comes from the universe. Now you can call it universe, God, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, whatever name you want, label, but it's really all we need to at least agree for the moment that it is one. Oh, look at Omar. It's at 12 a.m. in Turkey. Oh, you made it. Okay, congratulations. Omar left the United States yesterday and he was excited about his trip. Anyway, so hi, Omar. Thanks for being here from all the way in Turkey. So there's really three levels to building faith: faith in God, faith in ourselves, faith in a system, faith in a process, faith in another person. And it's not just one thing. Like so many things, it needs to be distinguished to understand. When it's all lumped together, fear and faith, faith and belief, which is which? Is there a difference between belief and faith? There is. There is. So effectively, what happens when you fall in love with an idea and you've made the decision to move out on it, and you've taken the action, you will go through three phases to build faith. Faith in your ability to do something that you failed at before or you've never done before, and your deserve ability. You see, because many of our fears have to do with that we don't believe we're good enough. We don't believe we deserve it. And they came from real experiences. So we really have faith in our fears. So wrap that one around, right? Fears, there are 6 of them. We have perfect faith in them. Just like we do in a supreme being, if we do, in that universal force. We also have that same kind of faith in what we fear, because we failed so many times. And the way faith eventually is reached is through repetition. So here's what happens. My program, we do 12-week goals for a lot of different reasons. The results are that I now have collected 500 client 12-week goals that they've achieved using the laws of achievement, or the principles of achievement, which I created, because I found that people were only getting haphazard or sporadic results. And it concerned me. So there had to be a process. And I went looking, there was no process. Nobody I've met in 16 years had ever taken a proper class in school, middle school, high school, college, on how to set a goal, which means nobody knew how. So then our results are haphazard or sporadic. We do know things about what works and what doesn't work, but there's no fun in, riding like this. One 12-week quarter, you achieve your goal, yay, and then the next one you fail. And so what happens when you begin a project like this, a goal that you want, the first thing you do is you expect it will occur. You're going to give it a try, right? You have an expectation that what you know is you really want to do this. You think you know, right? And you believe that it'll outweigh your fear, that you really, really want this when you begin. And then you begin to think about it, to visualize it like we talked about yesterday. And we do that every day or every other day for a few minutes. Now, what happens during the 12 weeks, and this is kind of a real fast screenshot, about halfway through, expectation moves to belief. And belief here is a firm opinion you're going to achieve it. So we started out with an expectation. I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to give it a try. I really love this goal. So we begin to work on it and we visualize it and we get excited about it. And about 6 weeks in, it shifts to belief, which is now you have a firm opinion. You don't have perfect faith yet. And this is really where habits come in. Habits don't always stick, but they're on the way to faith. So perhaps you could say that at the 6-week point, the tasks that you've been doing and the discipline you've been exhibiting, right, is a habit now. Okay, but it's part of this process. Now, why do you have a firm belief now as opposed to when you first started? Well, because you're causing things to come your way. So here's what happens at 6 weeks. This is why you don't want to know all the steps, because all of a sudden people and opportunities show up on your path that you used to think was a coincidence, and they take you directly to your goal, or they have the perfect answer, right? Or, they are the perfect partner. How is it that they would even know about what you're working on? Because you were the cause in it. What you want is moving toward you at the same amplitude of vibration that you hold, and is moving toward us. So people and opportunities will be sent by the universe. Remember, we're co-creators, and they show up and you go, oh my God, this is a coincidence. What if it isn't a coincidence? So that's your sign. That's your everyday miracle. That's what people talk about. And so then you continue on. And when you complete the goal, you have perfect faith. Faith now in your ability to do something you didn't know how to do or you failed at. So you've disproven the old fear. And now you not only have the faith in God or spirituality, but now what you have with you is faith in yourself to create something that you were afraid to do. However, once isn't enough, right? So that is the process. So pure faith is when you have overcome the fear at least one time. You've done the thing that you were humiliated. Maybe it was public speaking. So over 12 weeks, when you set a goal that fits or the checklist for using the 12 laws or principles of achievement, the checklist, when you use that about halfway through, and I work with you on what the goal is going to be, because not all goals are 12 weeks, but many are. Sometimes there are phases that you have to kind of build. So we have a conversation, we determine what that goal is. Halfway through, you start seeing these signs, proof of faith, people showing up, opportunities in your lap. This is the thing you've wished for. There it is. Was this a coincidence? It wasn't. You earned it. And then you complete, and you now have perfect faith in your ability and your deservability too. So thank you, Cyrus.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Leslie. Great share.
Thank you.
No surprise there. So I was gonna say there are times when people feel disappointed when they don't get the outcomes they want.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they've let themselves down. They've let their community down. What happens if I don't achieve the goals I have in mind?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen if this happens? What's going to happen if that happens? So it's as if there is this innate desire in us to be able to determine the outcome. We feel nervous when we can't determine the outcome. Now, the solution to that is to have faith, trust the process. And at the beginning of a football league in every country, almost all teams feel that they're gonna win. Some teams know that they're not going to win, and it's not about confidence. It's about believing and achieving. Okay, so you can be someone like me. I don't have a lot of confidence at all times, but I know that I'm going to get the outcomes because I see the history of my efforts and the fruits of those efforts, right? So some people think just because they have confidence, they're going to achieve it. Or because they don't have confidence, they're not going to achieve it. It's not always about confidence. It's about knowing that it's happened in the past. So based upon the laws of probability, it can happen again. So don't let that fear rob you of your opportunities. So that's where faith comes in. So don't try to control the outcome, because the outcome is not always controllable. So there is this illusion of controlling the outcome amongst human beings. The outcome can happen. Well, whether it's going to happen in your favor or not, well, you're going to have to use what Leslie Flowers just explained about. Just have faith. And the worst case scenario is it's not going to happen. You're still alive. You're going to have the opportunity to make up for it. So, Leslie, surely there's been times when you had to deal with a situation where you couldn't control the outcome. You couldn't see it. I don't know. In the past 20 years, you must have dealt with situations where you were dealt a really, really bad hand, right? And like a really lousy one. How did you play well with a bad hand? How did faith come into it? And do you have any examples in mind? If you don't have an example in mind, I can go to another participant like Jasmine, and then you can have a think about it and come back to you. Or I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, that's fine. You can put me on the spot. That's what this is all about, Cyrus.
Good.
Putting me on the spot, right? So feel free. Yes. Well, for one thing, there's only one thing I can control.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know what that is, all those other things don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an outcome that occurs over which I have no control, I let it go. And the one thing that we can control is what we think, how often we think it, and how we feel when we think it. Now, so if it's something over which my thinking and new solutions cannot make a difference, I step away, because time is so valuable. Jasmine, you look gorgeous, by the way. I just love the white tonight, and it matches the balloons. And forgive me, everybody, but this is, you have to know, this is Jasmine's design, the backdrops, and her signature, the balloons. So we're all just very impressed with your work and just delight in it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
excuse me, she didn't say I look lovely, just so you know.
Yes,
that.
Paulette, you look also, but you're not in the big screen yet, so I'm kind of old. And there we go. Okay,
you do look nice.
Oh my gosh, look at okay. I love the bows. Very nice, very nice.
Oh, actually, you look like £1 million, Paulette.
Yeah.
You
don't say that. You want to say she's right? Well, looks like 100 pounds. Oh, well, that's right. You're talking English money. I'm talking about weight. So what can we say, right? She's £1 million. Thank you, Cyrus. Now, where the heck were we? I forgot. Oh yeah, what we can control. So you do your best I do my best to find a solution, but it doesn't always happen that way. And a lot of times the reason we don't give up on things is because of one of our fears. What will people think of us if we don't complete it? If you've given it your level effort and you cannot find a solution, and I mean a solution, I don't mean a compromise. Compromise is not solution if you know Stephen Covey's work, right? It's a better solution we're looking for, because in a compromise, people don't win 100. So I'm looking for 100% on your side, 100% on my side to come up with a solution. Now, look, if you don't give it up, you won't recognize the next thing that's on its way. And that's the law of sacrifice. So if something isn't working, let's say you're in a job and you're really unhappy in that position. And I've been there many times. And I will give you a quick example of when I was just finishing up my corporate career, which was 45 years. And I was involved in startup companies. And I was the last pair of eyes. I was the only executive assistant. I basically ran the office, and we raised funds for different startup ventures. This was in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina, which is like a hotbed of startups and entrepreneurial development. So I've been very fortunate to spend a lot of my career working with startup companies and board members, etc. So I remember this one company, I helped them raise $30 million in their first round. And I did all the paperwork and the PowerPoint presentations, and we got it. And it was emergency management right around 2000. And it was a board meeting day. Now I want you to picture this. It's a big office. I'm at one end manning the front door and the phones while the board meeting and everybody and all the board members are on the other side of the building in the conference room. And my CEO comes up to me and says, "Leslie, I want you to know before anybody else that there is a coup happening right now, today. All of the C-levels are going to be ousted. So I wanted to let you know." And she's the CEO. Okay, so I'm on the phone conferencing in to the other side of the building. And here's what happened. Somebody said in the room, discussing with the board members, "Well, what's going to happen to this person? What's going to happen to this person?" They said, "What's going to happen to Leslie? Oh, she'll be gone." So now I want you to picture me on the phone. This is the phone with the curly cord, right? The real phone. And I'm listening to, "I just lost my job." Okay. And nobody was around me. And I could feel my blood boiling. Like I was irritated and it was rising in my ears. And in about 10 seconds, it dropped. Because what I thought was, rather than, "Oh, poor me," which is fear, oh my God, fear of poverty. What am I going to do? I need the money, right? And what are people going to think of me? I got fired, all wrapped up in fear. I said to myself, this is a gift. They no longer appreciate me. I am really excellent at what I do. There are startup companies that are desperate for someone like me. So within 15 minutes, I was thrilled because I was free. See, I can't be helping someone else who wants and needs my help while I'm settling, right? Settling for humiliation, mistreatment, or whatever, and not being appreciated. That's the law of sacrifice. You have to give up something of lesser value to make room for something of greater value. So for me, it was a gift of freedom. That's what your thinking can do. That's what faith is, in knowing what your worth is and what your value is. Of course, I was annoyed. Of course, I was upset. It was an upheaval. However, the way you think about things immediately, this is what we call a reframe, kind of, right? I could be worried and feel bad for myself. And by the way, when the meeting adjourned, all the engineers came up quickly to me right at the desk, right where I was manning the door. Are you okay, Leslie? Are you okay? I said, oh my God, am I okay? I love you guys, but I'm out of here. I can't wait to see what's next. So the only thing we can control is what we think. In my view, we need to be darn smart and practiced at finding new solutions, better solutions. And if it doesn't work, walk away, because you've already caused new opportunities. Those people and opportunities that show up, they're already on their way. If I stayed stuck in that job, I never would have known about these other jobs. I wouldn't have been able to make a difference. But I had perfect faith in my ability and my deservability. So I'll leave it right there. How's that for an example?
That's phenomenal. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I am very impressed. I am very impressed. Not surprised though.
Thank you.
So, before we move on to the next point, I was gonna make here. Let's.
The possibility of eRada. The possibility of eRada.
So the amazing and phenomenal people who have come to our live today. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a polite reminder, guys. The possibility of eRada is on Amazon as we speak. Waiting for you guys to make your purchase. Soon there's going to be soon we're going to have a new series following this series that we are doing right now. We're going to have one series just for people who have purchased the book, and rumor has it there's going to be a audiobook. There's going to be an audiobook coming out before the year is out. Yeah, so the audiobook's going to be out before the year is out. Yeah, and so it would be much better for you guys to have an understanding of the possibility of eRada. Please get your copy. I think Jasmine has put the link, or is going to put the link in the comments, comment section. It's all about the possibility of eRada, guys.
Yes,
Thank
just
you so
look in the comments. And can I just say hello to a few people, please?
Please go ahead.
Cyrus, yes, and Mahendra, thank you for all your kind words. And hi, Jay and Omar. We've seen you before. This is wonderful. Platine is here. Here's Leah Garcia. I frame that as an exchange principle. Okay. We absolutely. I can see where that's the case. There's Michelle Whiteside. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. It's so exciting to have you here to see this actually come true. Scott, thank you so much for being here. I'm very happy to see you. Okay, enough with the beautiful. Anyway, back over to you, Cyrus. Thanks for letting me say hello to some wonderful folks. And you're the folks, we did this last night and we're doing it tonight. And we did it last weekend, both days. So there's a lot of excitement around a relaunch. And we've got some things in the works. And one of the things I was hoping that we could do, Cyrus, if this is okay in the agenda, I was kind of hoping that Paulette could share one of the teaching pieces out of eRada so people would kind of get a sense.
Absolutely.
She is the one who describes my book better than me. So it would be really helpful if Paulette, if you don't mind being put on the spot.
And I think she's read it 5-6 times.
Okay. And if Cyrus, if it's part of the agenda, if you can work it in, I would love that. Hey, Jay. Thank you. Oh, look how pretty you look with the bows and the ruffles. And
I had time this evening. We won't go there. So good evening, good afternoon. So I think the part when it first dawned on me, obviously I've been working with Leslie for some time, and as somebody who does listen, I started to think that there were things about the principles that were so obvious to me. And I said to Leslie, you know, when you talk about having a vision, you talk about vision and having a vision in the book. And she said, do I? I said, yes, you do. Absolutely, you do. And you also talk about challenges. Obviously, there's many challenges without giving too much away. But the key, apart from the amazing descriptive writing, I think that the part of it where I saw a very pivotal point where there's a question of the word faith and fear. Am I dreaming? Or is this real life? Do I believe what happened? The fear comes in. No, it's got to have been a dream. It couldn't really have happened. And then faith comes up and says, no, you know it, you know. And there's this constant battle between faith and fear that goes right the way through till probably the middle of the book. And I can't think of a better time to mention it than now, because Leslie has taught us that you can only know one thing. You can either be in faith or you can be in fear. And if you're in fear of your own thoughts, i.e., am I dreaming? Is this a reality or is this a dream? And when you're in that position, you're looking all around you for somebody else to guide you in some way and say, no, that is actually reality. But nobody else knows. So how can you have support in that belief? And I found that fascinating because it's a real major part of the plot. And I would like to put Leslie back on the spot as she put me on the spot and ask her, now that I have pointed that out, and as it's the perfect timing with what you're talking about, how do you feel about now that I've pointed that out to you?
Well, to your point, faith and fear, you know, the only thing that I would add is remember that it's what we think about the most, at the most frequently, and how we feel about it. So between faith and fear, you can only have one thought at a time. So which dominates? Is it fear? Am I really going to second guess myself? Because in that place in the book, there is a moment where Lee doubts herself, but she knows what she saw, yet she was doubting herself. So doubting yourself is the fear, right? Well, did I see that wrong? And it's not trusting ourselves enough times to have that be the dominant thought, which is faith. So what we're always trying to do is to think more on the faith side, right? As much as we can. If we catch ourselves in the fear side, that's when we do a reframe. Well, what's the opposite? Faith. So she was going back and forth. Well, I know what I saw, but what if it really wasn't there? And there was an outside person who confirmed that she was likely wrong, right? And it was very disturbing for her. But then the magic begins to happen, and I'm not going to say anymore. Now, how was that? Did that explain and help, Paulette, in terms of, you think that was a good response to that
Absolutely,
piece?
absolutely. And the key for anybody who reads a book, you read it once, you read it twice. By the third time, I can assure you, you'll be in the same place as I am, because you really do. It does take some back and forth, but in a good way, in a really good way. And then as you've said, and as Cyrus said, you know, instinct, people think, oh, I have to trust my intuition. Is it instinctual to believe that? Is it this, that, and the other? It's go back to faith and fear, and you'll never go wrong. And I believe that that's the principles that I learned and I'll go forward with, because I think that is key to everything, actually.
We have to boil it down to simplicity, because if we collapse too many concepts together, we're confused, and nobody thinks squarely when you're confused. Nobody takes any action until, and Jasmine, what do you think about this? So until you actually get clear or some clarity about the step to take, you don't have to know something 100%. But for me, and I don't know about you, Jasmine, but if you're confused, do you take action, or do you wait until the dust settles a bit, until you start to process and you start to see maybe the light at the end of the tunnel? I'd be curious about what you think, Cyrus, if that's okay to ask Jasmine.
Absolutely. Please
Yeah.
go ahead, by all means.
Yeah. In terms of being confused, yeah, obviously, if you're confused and you don't have the information to move forward, you'll be overwhelmed and you'll be stagnated. So until you have that information to move forward, you're stuck really, until you're clear. Like you said, clarity brings more what's the word? Stability to think properly and make the decisions that you want to make moving forward from whatever situation that you're in. Yes.
Yeah, and you don't have to have all the information, maybe just a little, just
Yeah.
something so that you can begin thinking about, well, what is the solution here? Is there one? How would I find it? Can I take a step?
Yeah.
The reason we don't run out and jump in confusion like children do is because of our fears. So we're cautious. Right? We're cautious. So give us the information that's missing. And that's why I shared the 3 steps of pure faith. That's how you believe in God, in spaced, repetitive intervals, time after time, year after year, week after week, month after month, year after year. And hopefully, when you're praying and learning about our universe, you're not just mouthing the words. I'm sure there are times when you do, but truly, prayer is the highest form of visualization. If you think about it, when you're praying, particularly for someone who is unwell, or for something that you want, or something for someone else, you're having a conversation with the universe and you putting your all into it. Every bit of love you have. So I think prayer is one of the best things that you can do. So Cyrus, back over to you. Jasmine, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So what I wanted to discuss with you, Leslie,
Yes.
is you mentioned something about intuition. Sometimes we want to take some action, but something stops us, right? So there is a misunderstanding there. I want to clarify that. Sometimes you don't know if it's resistance. So because it's natural for people to feel resistance when they want to take some action, right? So let's say Paulette wants to go to one of Leslie's classes. So like day one, the first day that she met Leslie. So one of the thoughts that would have come to her mind, potentially, we need to ask her, she's there, we will ask her, is am I going to get the results that I want? Is that going to work for me? I have been to similar classes before. I have read similar books. I love her. I'm gonna go and give her classes a chance. I like her personality. I like her line of thought and school of thought. I like those things. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a go. So she's absolutely buzzing right now. She's absolutely happy. She took the opportunity and in some people's books took that risk. It paid off. Whatever it was, it paid off. So one of the 2 thoughts at that moment would have come to her head. One, is it going to work? Don't do it. Don't do it. It's risky. you might lose your money, you might lose your time, it might not be suitable for you. Or second thought, which was, yeah, definitely go for it, go for it. She is your chance. She's the key to the door that has been locked for ages. She's my ticket to success. She's the winning lottery ticket, which you are, by the way.
Thank you.
So
I've never
for all
bought
of
one.
the community, no, honestly, for this community, you are, and that's the reason why everyone's gravitating towards you and your work. And if I'm not mistaken, this is your 7th book, isn't it?
My what?
And is how many books have you written before this?
9.
9. So this is your 9th book.
No, this is the 10th.
10th book, sorry, yeah. So this is your 10th book. So prior to this one, there are 9 other books.
Yes.
And are they also available on Amazon?
Most of them, yeah. One
brilliant.
is still with Lulu, but yeah, you can find them if you're looking.
Yeah, sure. So I would recommend, actually, everyone in this live right now, or when you get the chance, please Google Leslie Flowers. You would get plenty of positive surprises, including her books, and I love that. I love that about her. She has good publications. So the point is, the difference between intuition and resistance, in my view, is it's intuition if it tells you some sort of outcome about the decision you want to make. If it comes with a warning, it's resistance. It's not intuition. If it comes with a warning, it is resistance. When you want to take an action, you want to start a business or whatever, right? If there's a warning attached to it, it's resistance. So, Leslie, there are situations where people they do have faith, right? They do have faith, but it's a little bit shaky, right? What is it? Is it a mantra that you would recommend, or is it how would they fortify? How would they strengthen that shaky faith? The moment they're about to lose that faith, what is your secret formula? What is that secret formula that made you write 10 books? Some people haven't. They say that there's a good book there's a book in everyone, and but in some people's case, there's not even a good advice in them. Some people like you go ahead and write 10 books. So what is that drive? What is that secret?
You go back to why. You go back to why you started it in the beginning. If you begin to lose faith, if you think, well, maybe it's not a good idea, what was I thinking? I'm all the way down the road here and I just don't see anything. I'm not seeing people and opportunities showing up. A lot of time has passed. And so you just need to go back to why you wanted it in the first place. Because this business of being ambivalent is fear. And to your point about resistance and intuition, resistance is fear. Intuition is faith, part of your faith. Resistance and fears are automatic, they're subconscious, and they're not real thinking. They're emotional reacting. So when someone says something that hits us the wrong way, such as when I was on the phone and I heard that I was going to lose my job, we immediately go to our fears and make up something. We make it mean something. Well, they're doing it all wrong. This is not the way to be treating a person. We're on the negative side when we automatically interpret what's happening without thinking, because fears are not thinking. Now, intuition, which is part of your conscious mind, it can be grown, as we've talked about, along with imagination, intuition, perception, memory, reason, and will or focus. That is what this work is about. So intuition is a muscle that grows in direct proportion to its use. Fear has already proven that it's strong. Oh, it's so strong that when you get an idea that you failed at before, or a big one that you have no clue, before you even take a breath, Your fears are reminding you how many times you failed. Leslie, this is a really bad idea. You've tried this before and you failed, and people humiliated you. You know, maybe it's public speaking. Don't get up in front of people, because when you were 7 years old, right, you said something wrong and all the kids laughed at you. And at 7 years old, you said, well, I'm not getting up in front of people again. But now you're 37, 47 on eRada. Well, never mind. I'd be 37, 47, 57,
It's just a number.
67, right? You've been repeating the same thing. So anytime you were asked to get up in front of people and speak, that's why they say public speaking is the biggest fear, right? There are adults today that get nauseous when someone even asks them, because the visualization of that failure not only flashes up on the screen of your mind again, but the crappy way you felt, the humiliation, the fighting back, the tears. So when I say that we have absolute faith in our fears, I'm not kidding. Or as Joe Biden says, it's no joke. Sorry, I'm just in a mood tonight, right? But so the thing is, they're deeply embedded. We all have them. The two biggest are fear of criticism or judgment. How many times have we been judged? When we failed, when we got the C on the report card instead of the B. Oh, please. In spaced, repetitive intervals all our lives. So those fears are stronger than your faith in God, if you will. That's why we must disprove those fears and prove to ourselves that now as adults, not 7-year-olds, right? We're operating on a 7-year-old's emotional intelligence. I'm not going to speak because it doesn't feel right. I don't want to do it. Right? But that's a 7-year-old, not a 47-year-old or a 57-year-old. So all you have to do really is build faith on the very thing that you failed at. And you got to do it one thing at a time. And so that's what this work is that we're talking about, is to build faith in your ability and your deservability to do whatever you want to do without violating the rights of other people. And you can with this process. The universe has given us the process. We watch children go through it. And this is why you only do one goal at a time, so that you can distinguish what is really happening so you can replicate it. Repetition is how we learn. So I don't know why we started on that, but I'm done with that right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. So before we go to the quick Q&A that we have to actually do in this show as well, because I am kind of feeling overwhelmed with the number of emails that we're receiving. We haven't addressed them yet.
Okay.
I think we need a new series. We need a new series for just the emails that people and the questions that people have for you. So just a very quick piece of advertising, and we'll come back to the questions and answers.
Okay, great.
Leslie Flowers, the queen of dreams and magic powers. She paints the stars, draws the skies, where magic lives and never dies. In eRada's world, her voice is gold. Her stories touch both young and old. Through every line, the heart she frees. In her words we find the keys. She walks the line of fate and chance, spinning tales that make us dance. With rivers clear and glowing streams, she fills our hearts with endless dreams. A crown of stars upon her brow, she leads us through the here and now. Leslie Flowers, the queen of dreams and magic powers. She paints the stars, draws the skies, where magic lives and never dies. In eRada's world, her voice is gold. Her stories touch both young and old. Through every line, the heart she frees. In her words we find the keys. In eRada's lens, the spirits soar, where magic flows. In eRada's world, her voice is gold. Her stories touch both young and old. Through every line, the heart she frees. In her words we find the keys. She walks the line of fate and chance, spinning tales that make us dance. With rivers clear and glowing streams, she fills our hearts with endless dreams. A crown of stars upon her brow, she leads us through the here and now. Leslie Flowers, queen of dreams and magic power. Queen of dreams and magic. She paints the stars, draws the skies, where magic lives and never dies. Where magic lives and never dies. In eRada's world, her voice is gold. The stories touch both young and old. Through every line, the heart she frees. In her words we find the keys.
Can I just say something?
Forward, be brave.
This song is beautiful. I'm in my kitchen cooking, and then it just comes into my head. Leslie Flowers.
Oh gosh.
Singing the songs. Really, it does. It's still in my head. I can't get rid of it.
Well, Cyrus wrote it, so thank you, Cyrus. And by the way, Jasmine, do you now have your book?
Yes,
Yes, you
I
do.
got my copy. Yeah, I
Yes.
took it tonight, so I'm going to be reading it over the course of the week, and
I
it's
had
really
10
beautiful.
orders.
I love the colors; it's so vivid.
Thank
What did
you.
you
Yeah, I had
say,
10 orders
Cyrus?
from university students. So I'm going to deliver them tomorrow. Salford University student just down there.
Yeah, I actually bought 2 copies, one to send to somebody and one for myself.
Thank
Yeah, so
you. Thank you.
I'm happy.
And listen,
Yeah.
can I just thank you so much? I do want to acknowledge that someone else has come into the room that I would like to say hello to, which is Erin Gibson, who has been involved in this project, gosh, for months and months. So thank you, Erin, for being here and all your support and questions when I have them. So I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you.
He just commented a short while ago. Big burly
Okay,
hog.
good. Thank you.
You epic souls, he says.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So, we're going to continue with the sponsors.
Or I thought we were going to do the fast questions, whichever.
Move forward, be brave, never look back. Oh, Kevin, Walter and Jack. Move forward, be brave, never look back. Oh, Kevin, Walter and Jack. Move forward, be brave, never look back.
Q Digital. Q Digital is your advertising friend. Is your advertising friend. Is your advertising friend.
We know the customers you love and your favorite trends. Joe Digital is here. We're your advertising friends. We'll boost your social views with a trendy blend. With Jasmine Ofori guiding you, your success will never end.
Thank you so much for listening. So now, Q&A. Okay, emails. There you go. So there's a couple of them here that, so there's plenty that were similar. So we actually summarized a few of them. And due to the fact that we are pressed for time here, we just read the summarized version, guys. Sorry if I can't read all of your email, the whole email. So I've just lost my job and everything feels overwhelming. How can I find faith to believe things will get better when I can't even see a way forward right now?
Okay, that's a good one. So you've lost your job. Do you want to put me in the middle of the screen, or do you want to keep the book? I mean, I can
There you
stay
go.
small here. There we go. Okay, so what you want to know is pretty much what I had shared about, appreciating yourselves. But if you just lost your job, what I would tell you is, if we were having a cup of coffee, I would tell you about the law of polarity and the law of and the that there is abundance, and that in every case where there isn't a job, there is a job. So that your concern about not having a job and not knowing what to do will be allayed, because you can start looking for the jobs that are open rather than focusing on you don't have one. I hope that answers it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. The next one is I've failed in my first business attempt. I failed in my first business attempt, and I am scared to take another risk. Do you really believe that faith can lead to success, even when every point everything points to failure?
Well, everything points to failure in what you're seeing. Your perspective is based on past experience. So the more times you fail, then you prove, oh, look, I've failed again and again. So the idea here is that you can do anything that you want to do without violating the rights of others, but you have to be compelled. So maybe the thing for this person to do is to really figure out, what exactly do you want to do next? Do you want another job? And to basically create the scenario, create the visualization of what you'd like to do next. Now, a good friend of mine, when she lost her job, very similar to this, we sat down and sketched out everything she wanted in a job. And so you can see that she can begin to visualize it, which is what we talked about. And it's important, the purpose of a goal to create that faith is to achieve it. So you have to be motivated long enough to do the things to achieve it. And that goes back to why you want it. So if you've lost your job, first of all, I'm sorry, this is your first business attempt. Well, you actually have two choices here. And I apologize, that was a little out of context. You will build faith in small increments along the way. You will, as you're building a new business, when you first start out, you will have certain problems, right? And you will overcome them. And then you will generate more income and you will solve those problems. So it could be that the reason that you failed at your first business attempt is that you were in a state of confusion and you didn't know enough to actually succeed. That's possible. So I'll leave it right there, Cyrus.
Thank you ever so much. The next one is my fear and anxiety constantly blocks me from moving forward in my career. How can I use faith to control my emotions and stop feeling like I'm stuck?
Well, the faith that you do have is the faith in the universe. Let's assume that you have faith in God. Focus there. Focus on the things that you can control through what you're thinking. All of this negative thought that you're talking about is not thinking. It's reacting based on fear. And see, in the subconscious, it's emotional and reactive, and it's not thinking. In the conscious mind, it's responsive, objective, and it's a feeling. That's what intuition is. It's not emotional. It's not reactive. It is not subjective. It is objective, responsive, and it has a very specific feeling. It's like a whisper. It's a nudging. And again, where you want to spend your time, first you have to recognize, right, that you may not have been ready. And look, the universe is not going to have you succeed, my friends, unless you are a vibrational match to enjoy it. So you didn't do the work in all likelihood. So all you need to do really is go at it again, knowing what you've already learned. And you have to want it very much. And it may be that you don't. And it could be that you want to go and get a full-time job somewhere and enjoy your life that way. There are many people who do that, you know. So, but if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to create, oh, now we're back to fear and okay, from moving forward in my career. All right. How can I use faith to control my emotions? Well, that's the age-old paradox. Faith and fear, angel and devil. What am I going to think about the most? And that thing that I'm thinking about, does it make me feel good when I'm in anxiety and I'm in fear? Do I feel good? No. Your cellular vibration drops. And this is how you become ill, through what you think. Because here's the deal, and I've said this before, and it's no joke, right? Is that mind is an activity in your cells. So what you're thinking about the most has a certain vibration to it, good or bad. And it transmits into every cell of your body. So when you feel really great, you can have goosebumps, you have a spring in your step that shows you that what you think and the vibration associated with the memory of what you're thinking or visualizing is what actually controls your ability to not be blocked. So we're doing it to ourselves, right? By repeating that fear and anxiety is blocking me, then you're repeating fear and anxiety is blocking me. And what you want to say is, I'm grateful that I've noticed that fear and anxiety seems to be waning for me. And I'm feeling much better and uplifted each day. So it's really up to us to use our conscious mind to come up with words and thoughts that make us feel good. Thanks, Cyrus.
That's fantastic. Have I ever told you have the most beautiful voice on LinkedIn? I think I have, and I'm not going to shy away from saying it again. Okay. So me and Jasmine, how should I say, Jasmine and I, more correct form of it. So we have created something for you.
Oh.
Beyond what we can see. What if there is no power greater than love? Imagine, what if there was a world beyond what we can see? What if our dreams were not just dreams? What if there is a place where we can live and love in peace and harmony? What if a science fiction romance wasn't fiction? Get ready to lose yourself with Lee and Van in a romantic adventure that up to now was just a fantasy. You will discover love has no boundaries. Explore the complexities of connections that span across galaxies and the heartwarming reminder of the power of love. Leslie Flowers has been blazing trails for the business leaders for decades, leveraging the laws of achievement and timeless success. Principles. Already an acclaimed writer, her new book invites you to explore what could be. With a passion for exploring the human condition and the mysteries of the universe, Leslie invites you to come along on this interstellar journey that will stay with you long after you finish the last page.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Okay. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. So the next question is, okay, so let's have a look. Next. Could you guys see the screen as well?
What screen? Yeah.
You saw the video as well?
Yes.
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 Yeah, we
So
did.
we have,
Yeah.
we have Jasmine to thank for
It was
that.
lovely. Thank you very much.
Is phenomenal. Like her visual creation is just next to. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Second to none, really.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next question that I wanted to share with you is, I freeze when it's time to make a decision because I don't trust myself. How can I build faith in my own choices, especially when I've failed before?
Okay, well, we're still working on this same concept pretty much, and it's really an important one. So can you put the question up on the screen or ask me again, please?
Yes, sure, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. Here's the question. You know, your live events, Leslie, they are like university classrooms.
Oh, thank you.
The quality is always there. Quality is
Thank
always there.
Thank you.
Depending on the university, though, but in this one, the quality is definitely there. Okay.
Okay, I freeze when it's time to make a decision. Well, you don't trust yourself because you don't have enough information. That's it. You simply don't have enough information. You know, when you came on and we did this live stream when we began, we're all at a certain level of conscious awareness of our potential. And the idea is that we're always growing and learning. Hello, Deborah. So good to see you. I'm so happy that you're here. Very nice. And I just saw someone else come in. Let me look really quick because I wanted to say hello. Who did I see? Oh, Jesus.
She's on the screen.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, there's Christy. That's who I was looking for. Christy. Okay, so Christy and Deborah are here. Great. So let's go back to the question, please, so I can look at it again. And this,
Yes,
I said, thank you. Okay, so the freezing comes from failure, fear of criticism. I failed before. What are people going to think of me? I'm not going to look good. This is all ego driven. And it's very natural for all of us. We all have these things. The idea is to catch ourselves before we interpret what we're looking at and hearing automatically based on fear rather than reasoning and objectively trying to figure out what is actually being said. So relying on our fear, you can't have faith. You have to let go of the fear long enough to move into faith. No, you don't trust yourself because you failed before, but you didn't really think that the universe would give us conscious awareness and all these wonderful gifts, and then you wouldn't have to do anything for it. And you wouldn't have to think. You have to continue learning. So the best way is to seek an expert, find out some more information. In fact, right now I'm doing some investigation on carbon manufacturing. Isn't that an interesting subject? Why would Leslie be doing that? So we get more information, like I told you, and I've shared before, that the images in eRada were taken, the homes were taken from Viking history. So I had to go and learn about Vikings and how did they live? What were their homes like? So that I could populate eRada. I love those homes. They were built into a berm on the side of a hill. I just love that. And I found pictures of them. And then I found pictures of the inside. So I gathered more information. I knew what I wanted. You wanted to make a decision. And remember that the opposite of procrastination is decision. That's right. And how do you make an easy decision? You get really clear on what it is you want, and anything that comes into your view any squirrels or bright shiny object syndromes that catch your eye and tend to interest you, you already have this thing going on. You must ask yourself this question. If I take this new thing on right now, will it take me closer to my goal right now or not? And if it won't, don't do it now. That's where your discipline comes in. That's where you have to learn to say no. So it's all about clarity, being disciplined to not be distracted, to take you off course. Because remember, the purpose of setting a goal is to achieve the thing, right? So why don't we want to achieve more? So I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Good.
The next one is also very, very similar to the one before last. So this is going to be the last one, and it's very similar to the one before last. And this one saying, I'm terrified of failing and it's holding me back from pursuing my dream career. How can I find the courage to push through this fear and see failure differently?
Okay, so failure is learning. Failure is how you learn. And we have a belief about failure that it's a bad thing. And how many report cards have reflected that since we were little? I mean, my first report cards had a letter grade handwritten, right? Now, my grades were always good, but there was always a note that Leslie talks too much in class, right? That's what the notes. Leslie, stop talking so much in class, right? Stop daydreaming, stop looking out the window. So is this the question we're working on? Or what was the last question? How can I find the courage?
The last question is, yeah, that's on the screen.
Okay. How can I find the courage to push through this fear and see feeling? You know what? Get a coach. Sit down with somebody who knows more than you, maybe even an expert in the area you want to go into. And you don't have to do it all by yourself. The smart thing to do is to seek expert advice. That's one of the principles of success from Think and Grow Rich. Go get some help. Don't be afraid to ask. That would work very well. Faith through fear can be based on past. Yes. How can we apply faith for a future outcome that we've never experienced?
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. At this point, is it faith or manifestation, or is there a difference? Well, manifestation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Should we let perhaps Paula take this question?
No, since we're finishing up, well, if you want to, but Paulette, do you want to answer it or shall I?
You're the expert.
Okay. All right. So manifestation causes faith, Jay. Great question. It is in the final manifestation through visualization that faith is built. You achieved it. You didn't believe you could. You had no track record, no experience of something of this magnitude, right? You haven't done that. So you're really out there in no man's land. If you follow the visualization to complete the manifestation, which is the transmutation of thought energy into physical form, which takes a few months minimally, right? That is manifestation, is the source of fear. Excuse me, of faith. Oh my God. It's the source of faith, because once you complete it, you have perfect faith in the thing you never knew how to do, or you didn't have any faith in yourself because you failed. So manifestation will deliver faith to you in yourself. When you achieve it, you will have arrived, provided you haven't done it before or you failed at it. And I think that's a pretty good answer for you, Jay. Good question.
That's a beautiful question, and even more beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So, so imagine losing your life, all of it, or everything you've got in a tornado or in a tsunami, right? and then that never changes your faith, and if anything makes it stronger. That's Jay Pasqua for you. So he and his family, they dealt with the worst wrath of Mother Nature, and he's still standing strong. If anything, he came out stronger, and I'm so proud of Jay. Jay, if you're listening, which I hope you are, I am proud of you. So, thanks to you, Leslie, we had another beautiful session. So in this one, we talked about faith, and this was the 4th session. And this session also happened thanks to our phenomenal sponsors, Jasmine Ofori and Paulette Hallam. Thank you, ladies. And the possibility of eRada, guys, as a final reminder, the possibility of eRada is in Amazon. And if you haven't purchased it yet, you haven't had the opportunity yet, it's okay. Please spend a few moments, make your purchase. And based upon my calculations, it is the price of a couple of cups of coffee, depending where you buy your coffee from. So the book more than likely is going to turn into a movie as well. Some of us in the future are going to say, I read that book before it turned into a movie. I want you to be that person. Make your purchase as soon as you want. Okay. So I would like to thank all of my amazing guests who got the chat going as well. Thank you so much, guys. Jay, Mahendra, Omar, Platine, Scott, Ernest, Michelle, and many more. And Christy and Aaron, and I apologize if I missed any names, and Deborah, and thank you guys for joining us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure. See you guys next week with the 5th session. And please send your questions, send your emails to info@whisperboy.com, and we will read your emails. We may not have the opportunity to read the entire email, but we will summarize it and ask Leslie the questions, and she's generous enough to spend some extra minutes with us and answer those compelling emails and compelling questions as well. Thank you so much, Leslie. Cheers, guys, and see you next time. Oh, hang on a minute. There's something that hasn't happened yet. Jasmine, any closing comments? Did you think I was going to forget? No.
All right. Actually, I would like to thank you, Cyrus, personally, for all that you've done, for me and for Paulette as well. You're amazing, filled with creativity. You're a genius. I mean, you're the way that you've got ideas that just boils up in your head, it's fantastic. And the podcast that you're doing as well, you're doing a great job. I mean, bringing visibility to all of us. We just want to say thank you. We don't thank you enough. I know you don't like being spoken about, that much, and you like to keep it to yourself, but we have to thank you for all that you're doing as well. And also, I'd like to tell everybody about what I do in terms of social media. If you need support with it, feel free to contact me via calendly.com, or just shoot me a direct message and we can work out how I can support you to increase visibility on your brand. I'm Jasmine from Jude Digital. But thank you, Cyrus. You're amazing. You need to hear that, take it in, and soak it in. You are fantastic.
Thank you so much. Jasmine Ofori, our online social media specialist. And Paulette, any closing comments?
Just another phenomenal room. I think faith over fear is one of the biggest lessons you can learn. And I think Leslie's done us proud tonight.
Thank you.
There's not many
Leslie
people
made us
that
proud
could
again.
answer questions like that. So yeah, amazing. And I'm telling you, it runs all the way through the book. So seriously, I really can't say that enough. I know you're on a hard time tonight, Leslie, so I won't go on. We'll talk next Saturday.
Thank you so much. Cheers, guys. I wish you all
Thank you,
a
Cyrus,
lovely,
as well.
lovely.
Apologise.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Leslie Flowers, the queen of dreams and magic powers. She paints the stars, draws the skies, where magic lives and never dies. In eRada's world, her voice is gold. Her stories touch both young and old. Through every line, the heart she frees. In her words we find the keys. She walks the line of fate and chance, spinning tales that make us dance. With rivers clear and rolling streams, she fills our hearts with endless dreams. A crown of stars upon her brow, she leads us through the here and now. Leslie Flowers, the queen of dreams and magic powers. She paints the stars, draws the skies, where magic lives and never dies.